I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about. First of all, I'm personally super excited because of my level of involvement in it. But you were part of the WWE Women's Evolution pay-per-view, and now, of course, a fellow alumni from WWE, who's now with NWA, Mickie James, is planning her own all-women's pay-per-view event on August 28th. And it's the first time that there's a woman actually behind the scenes. And so I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your perspective on the distinction and difference it makes to have women in actual power positions, determining things on how women are represented in the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we all need other advocates behind the scenes to push for women for different on-camera roles or the way that we're perceived on camera. But I think, whether it's somebody in a production role, somebody that's on the writing team, whatever, you just need different voices from different walks of life to make a fully rounded product. If everything is coming from the same three men, you're not going to get the proper representation of people on camera. So I think having women in those roles is really important. As I was on my way out from WWE, there has been way more like female writers, female producers, and it is nice to see that. And it's yeah, I think somebody like Mickie James going to bat for the women and seeing what like Maria Kanellis is able to do right now as well. And those are women that have been advocating for women for a very long time to be in those spotlights. And I think that they're going to do such a great job with it. I think that it's really cool that Billy Corgan seems to have just really handed the keys over to Mickie James to take this event and do what she wants with it. And she obviously has all the connections, all the wherewithal to make something really successful out of this. And there's so many other untapped women that have not been given that platform. So it's really cool to see who's going to step up and who's going to shine and how the show's going to come across. But yeah, I think having more women in those roles is so crucial. Just to have someone to speak up. I mean, it's not just like oversights of things. Like I remember when we were putting together Evolution, and put it like we are wondering how we were gonna like highlight all of the women as they were making their entrances to the ring. And one of the things they wanted to have in there was like, oh, here comes so and she's this champion and this champion and she's done this and blah blah blah, mother of three or whatever. And I was like, you would never do that for a man. You would never say like, oh, he's got kids at home, whatever, like in like a bio rundown of somebody going into the ring. And it was no it just wasn't something that a man would necessarily think about the same way that a woman would. So for me to be able to be in a production meeting like that and be like, oh, maybe we don't want to say that or don't want to highlight that because it's not necessarily the thing that you would do for the men. And they were like, oh yeah, duh, of course. So it's just having somebody there that just has a different perspective to point things out or yeah, speak up in situations like that. Just to get everybody on the same page and maybe give people a different perspective to look at things.
I don't know. I mean, I think that I'm just always thrilled. Obviously somebody who's coming from like kind of an extreme minority perspective in the world of professional wrestling, right? Like me. It's always wonderful when we see anything that's like remotely reflective of our actual experiences, number one. And specifically when it comes to things like that that I'm interested in, like the LGBT influence, things like that. Traditionally, the way we've been reflected has not been, clearly was not written by or came from the brain of someone within our group, right? Sure. So, I mean, I can only imagine that those same people are like, oh yeah, the women definitely would want to have this bikini, competition.
Yeah,
like,
dying
that's
to.
definitely what they need. Like that's how they judge themselves, of course.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, it's just giving people a different idea and yeah, having someone to represent that category. I mean, like you said, whether it's, we're talking the LGBTQ community or we're talking like female advocates or however that is, you need someone that has walked that life to be able to help portray these characters on television accurately.
Or in a way that at least isn't like like,
Yes.
like defaming.
100%. Yeah, of course.
So